3 billion people are about to watch a football tournament. A nation is about to turn 250 years old. And underneath both of those headlines, something else is happening. Something nobody's showing you on the scoreboard. Money. Moving faster and in bigger numbers than it has in years. Through 16 host cities. Across 104 matches. Straight into an economy that was already stretched thin before the first ball was kicked. This is the story of the $100 billion summer. And how it's quietly deciding who wins and who pays in 2026. Start with the scale of this thing. 48 teams, 104 matches, 39 days. 16 host cities spread across 3 countries. The biggest World Cup ever staged by a wide margin, and already the highest scoring tournament in the competition's history. Flights out of the United States are up 13% compared to last year. Domestic travel is up 15%, and that demand isn't spread evenly. It's slamming into a short list of cities. Houston, Dallas, New York, Toronto, Vancouver. Hotels that would normally have a quiet July are booked solid for match week. Short-term rental prices in host cities have doubled, and in some cases nearly tripled for the nights around a fixture. That's not just tourism spending. That's a job surge. Hospitality, transit, security, food service, landing in local economies almost overnight. On paper, that sounds like a win for everyone. Cities get a windfall, workers get overtime. Small businesses near the stadiums post their best month in years. Some of it comes from visiting fans, but a lot of it comes from the residents of those same cities. Because now they're competing with billions of dollars in fresh demand for the same hotel rooms, the same restaurant tables, the same ride shares they use to get to work every day. Which brings us to the part that doesn't make it into the highlight reel. While the World Cup was filling stadiums, inflation was quietly doing something it hadn't done in 3 years. In May, the Consumer Price Index rose 4.2% from a year earlier, the sharpest annual increase since the spring of 2023. Energy is doing most of the damage, up over 23% in the past 12 months. Gasoline alone is up more than 40% compared to a year ago. That's not a coincidence. In late February, war broke out involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. And one of the first casualties was the Strait of Hormuz, a stretch of water so narrow you can see both coastlines from a passing ship, and yet it carries roughly 1/5 of the world's oil. When that traffic slows to a trickle, prices don't wait for a press release. They just move. Fuel surged past $4 a gallon this spring, and even after months of gradual cooling, it's still running well above where it sat a year ago. So here's the paradox. The same summer that's pumping tourist dollars into 16 host cities is unfolding on top of a real affordability crisis for the people who actually live in them. The World Cup didn't cause the inflation, but it landed right in the middle of it, and for a few weeks, it's loud enough to drown it out, which is exactly why the timing of this entire spectacle matters more than it looks like it does. Because this isn't only a sports story, and it isn't only an economic story. It's unfolding in the same season as America's 250th birthday, and in the shadow of the most serious escalation in the Middle East in years, hosting the largest World Cup ever staged, while a ceasefire with Iran is still holding by a thread, and tensions over the strait haven't fully cooled. That's not an accident of scheduling. It's a signal, a message to the rest of the world that says, whatever is happening overseas, this country can still put on the biggest show on Earth. 250 years is long enough to forget how unlikely a country's survival actually is. And this anniversary isn't landing in a quiet moment of reflection. It's landing in a live, once-a-generation reminder of what a nation does when the whole world is watching. It throws a party it can't quite afford and dares you to notice. Soft power like that doesn't show up on a balance sheet, but it shows up everywhere else. In tourism years from now, in trade conversations, in how a generation of fans across 40 different countries remembers the summer of 2026. A tournament can't lower the price of gas. It can't undo a war. But for 39 days, it can make a fractured, anxious country feel, for a few hours at a time, like it's still the center of the world. So, 3 billion viewers, 16 host cities, $100 billion in overlapping economic activity, landing in the exact same window as a national milestone and a global energy shock. The next time you watch a match this summer, watch what's happening off camera too. The hotel rates, the gas prices, the flags, because this was never just the World Cup. This is the most expensive, most symbolic summer this country has had in decades, full of flags, fireworks, and fans from every corner of the planet. And somewhere underneath all of it, someone is still paying the bill. It's just not who you'd expect. Every headline tells you what happened. But the real story is always hiding underneath. At the Factiverse, we don't just follow the news. We uncover the systems, the decisions, and the hidden forces shaping our world. Because understanding the world means seeing what everyone else misses. I'll see you in the next story.